Many brokers are now paying in excess of $600 to acquire a single trader. While there's nothing wrong with this at all if you're generating a profit on that, it's still a lot of money to acquire a single trader, particularly when you can acquire the exact same people for about $10 to $20, which I'll explain how to do in the next part of my talk. Similarly, if you're an affiliate or an IB, perhaps you're purchasing traffic using an ad network like Google AdWords. Again, these are getting really, really expensive. We ran a campaign a couple of weeks ago in the UK targeting spread betting. For some of the keywords we were targeting, we were paying close to £70 for a single click. That's over $100 just for one person to visit our site. For that particular project, we would have had to pay 10 grand to acquire a single customer. Now, obviously, these are extreme examples, but they illustrate the point that many of the traffic sources that we've come to rely upon in this industry for generating traders online are not quite as cost effective as they once were. And perhaps it's time to start questioning those tactics and seeing whether there are other ways that we can generate and acquire traders more profitably. So I want to talk through, I'm going to share 3 specific tactics that I've had quite a bit of experience with and have been able to acquire traders for as little as $10. These are completely replicable. There's nothing magic or special about any of these tactics. I'm very confident that they're all things that you could go away, implement into what you're doing, and get pretty much the same results. So before we go into those tactics, I think it's important that we differentiate here between strategy and tactics. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the saying that if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, whereas if you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. If we were to only talk about tactics, it would be the equivalent of giving you the fish. Tactics go out of date, they expire, because the context within which tactics work changes. And so even many of the tactics that I'm going to talk about today will not work in a few years' time. And so if we only follow tactics, our strategy will soon deteriorate and become less effective over time. Strategy, on the other hand, is more equivalent to teaching how to fish. It will tell you what traits to look for in tactics, when tactics are going out of date, and when you might need to change some of the tactics you're using. So we're going to start off by looking at strategy. So just a little bit of context. So I'm one of these very strange people who get a huge kick out of running experiments around marketing, building websites, and trying to get an understanding of what's working right now. I've spent the past 8 years consulting some of the largest brands in the world, companies like Tetley Tea, Miele, London Business School, Vistaprint, as well as building many of my own online businesses. I currently run a portfolio of 8 online businesses. And if I had to distill everything that I've learned over the past 8 years of running all of these marketing experiments down to the single most potent piece of marketing strategy advice, it would probably look something like this slide. So what is it about this slide that stands out? Is it the green triangle or the blue circle? It's the blue circle, right? But not because it's blue and not because it's a circle. It stands out because it's not a green triangle. Now, they might seem like the same thing, but with the next slide, we can illustrate this point. When everything else is a blue circle, it's the green triangle that stands out. Now, there's a surprising amount of marketing wisdom in these slides. There are even psychological concepts that explain why certain advertising works and others don't, that are based on this exact model. But in the context of this talk, I want you to imagine that each of these shapes represents your competitors and the tactics they're using. Chances are, whether you're an affiliate, whether you're a broker, an IB, most of your competitors are probably marketing themselves in pretty much the same way. If you took a random sample of 20 brokers, you would notice that how they're marketing themselves is very, very similar. Probably have an affiliate program, possibly sponsor a football team, are probably using Google AdWords. There are many similarities. Whereas you often find that occasionally there'll be one competitor, perhaps even your company, that will try a marketing tactic that is so contrary to the norm in your niche, and these tactics tend to work extremely well. So I believe that the best opportunities when it comes to marketing are usually when no one else is looking, when none of your competitors already are. And so if each of these shapes were to represent trader acquisition, I think a good question would be to ask, what is that blue circle right now? we know what the green triangles are. The green triangles are obvious because it's what everyone is using. It's what, if you walked out into that hall, you would see all of the green triangles, but you may not see the blue circles because they're very rare. So I want to spend the remaining part of this presentation talking about some of what I believe are blue triangles right now in this industry and tactics that are working extremely well, yet extremely underused. So the first one is social advertising. So here we're talking about things like Facebook advertising, promoted tweets, even LinkedIn advertising. LinkedIn advertising's got a lot better over the past year. So why does social advertising work? It works because roughly 21 million people have put their hands up on Facebook saying, I like Forex. And because they've done that, you can run ads to them. So Facebook allow you to advertise to people based on demographics, certain psychographics, their behavior, and interests. And it's their interests that are really important. Essentially, if anyone likes something on Facebook, you can run ads to them based on them liking that, which means that you can run ads to people based on the broker that they like. There are 2.35 million people on Facebook who like eToro, and because they've done that, you can run ads to people who like eToro. There's a very high correlation between people who like eToro and people who are users of eToro. Therefore, you can effectively run ads to eToro's customers. Now, I don't mean to single out eToro. Apologies if you're in the room. Any single broker that is on Facebook, you can run ads to, which is pretty much all of them. And there's absolutely nothing stopping you from doing this. Unlike Google AdWords that allow you to prevent people from bidding on your trademark, I don't believe brands can actually stop this on Facebook. So it's a very, very powerful strategy, tactic. You can also run ads to people based on the news sites they read. So if you want to advertise to people who read Finance Magnates, Investing.com, Benzinga, Motley Fool, you can. You can also run ads to people based on their broader interests. So if you just wanted to reach people who had a general interest in the Forex market or binary options, CFDs, whatever it may be, you can. We've run some campaigns recently where we actually create an identical ad and we'll run them to each of these free groups to try and acquire traders. What we tend to find is that the group at the top, so when we try and target people who like a broker, they tend to convert extremely well. Because presumably if someone has liked a broker on Facebook, they're probably going to be an active trader. So we've seen cost per acquisitions as low as $10 to $30 after doing quite a lot of segmenting and fine-tuning. This middle group, we've got that down to between $50 and $80. The lower group can be close to $100. And the reason why you pay more the lower down you get is because people who have a broad interest in Forex, that may be a mixture of active traders as well as people who perhaps just like reading up on it. So the closer you get, the more relevant the traders tend to be and the better the results. Promoted tweets go one step further. So I discovered this a couple of weeks ago. The level of financial targeting on Twitter advertising is pretty incredible. So presumably Twitter buy quite a lot of financial data that they then match up with a person's email address or phone number and then allow people like you and I to advertise to Twitter users based on that financial data. So you can run ads to people on Twitter based on how affluent they are, their credit activity, what credit cards they own, their creditworthiness, what financial services they use, their net worth, what investments, whether they own mutual funds, bonds, etc. This is incredibly granular targeting for advertising. So if you wanted to run ads to people who were high net worth traders, this is a fantastic platform to do that. And the reason we're able to get cost per acquisitions down to $10, $20, $30 is not because they're somehow inferior traders. These are the exact same people that you might already be paying $600 to acquire. The reason it's cheap is because these platforms are based on a bidding model. It's kind of like eBay. The more competition there is, the higher the bids go and the more you would pay to acquire a trader. These platforms are extremely cost effective because they're very uncompetitive at the moment, which is what I mean by tactics go out of date. As more and more people start using Facebook ads and promoted tweets, it'll become more expensive. To put it into perspective, with Google Ads, in this niche, we generally pay between $4 to $10 per click. Whereas with Facebook advertising, we're currently paying around 50 cents per click on average. Promoted tweets, we're paying about 30 cents per click. So it's 10, 20 times cheaper than Google AdWords. Plus, you've got this extra level of targeting, which allows you to filter who are seeing your ads based on their net worth. So very, very powerful. I don't want to go into too much detail as to the mechanics behind how to set these campaigns up. I could spend a day talking about this stuff and still have only covered about 5%. But there is one thing that's really important to know, which is that when you're running any of these kind of social campaigns, be it Facebook, ads, promoted tweets, LinkedIn, it's really, really important to segment your campaigns as finely as possible. In other words, don't run an advert to 18 to 65-year-olds based in Europe. What we tend to do is we'll create 50 or 60 adverts that are all identical and then change the targeting of each ad group based on different demographics. So here we've got an example where we ran an example of running ads to 18 to 20-year-olds, 21 to 23-year-olds, and then 24 to 26-year-olds. The 21 to 23-year-olds, we were paying $27 per conversion, whereas the group that was 24 to 26, we'd pay $17 per conversion. Had we set that ad targeting 18 to 26-year-old, 21 to 26-year-olds, we would have paid $22 per conversion, which, while not bad, is still $5 more than we need to. You can also do this with your ad variations, so test different shades of colors, different colors. We found things before, like different shades of green have enabled us to shave several dollars off of how much we pay to acquire a single trader. There's so much kind of psychology behind what influences a person to actually click and engage with an ad. So there's a lot of experimentation that can be done around this. So the second tactic that I want to talk about, which is, again, quite underused in this industry, yet so powerful, is marketing automation. So marketing automation has been described as email marketing on steroids. I prefer to think of it as, if you imagine a Venn diagram of CRM, email marketing, and analytics, marketing automation is that point in the middle where the three overlap. So you're using all the amazing insights and data that your sales team are collecting in their CRM, combining that with email marketing so that you're sending the right message to the right people at the right time, and then combining that with your analytics to fine-tune those campaigns over time using hard data. So this is what it tends to look like. So you build these kind of flow charts, they're called workflows, which are based on rules and triggers. So we can say things like, if a trader signs up to your brokerage and and they've created a real account and after 3 days they've not deposited any money, do X. And then if they don't engage with X, wait another 2 days and then do Y. So you can create these really nice and funnel off your customers, your traders into all these different nurturing sequences to get them to complete the actions that you want to complete. So I'll show you a couple of sequences that ranging from very simple to quite complex that can be very powerful in this niche. So very, very basic. Here we've got an example of a sequence. A trader creates a real account, and after 3 days, they've not deposited any money. If that condition is true, do something. We can automate a text message to be sent to them, an email. We can automate a voicemail. You can even automate handwritten notes to be sent to them. There are actually services that plug into this that will send their data. They'll write a handwritten note and send it out. So much stuff that you can do with this. This is one more aimed at affiliates. So if someone signs up to your website, you've catched their detail, and after 10 days they've not clicked on your affiliate link, you can detect that all within the software and then send them an email encouraging them, offering a new incentive or some kind of offer to go through your affiliate link. Repeat that process several times and you can have a larger proportion of your list going through your affiliate link. And then you can end the automation as soon as that person has clicked on your affiliate link. So slightly more complex here. This is to do with kind of segmenting your traders into high-value traders and low-value traders, and then once again, to try and understand why certain traders are of low value. So if a trader deposits, say, over $20,000, we can immediately notify your sales team. We can send them a text message, an email, so that they know this is a high-value trader. And then after, say we can automate an email that sends some kind of offer, some kind of bonus to that trader to kind of thank them for choosing your service and to encourage them to be loyal. And then every 2 weeks, we can automate some kind of bonus or reason for that trader to remain with your brokerage. On the other side, so if they've deposited less than $20,000 or whatever that number may be, we can then maybe work out, well, why are they not a high-value trader? Is it because they're a beginner? Perhaps they don't have the understanding or experience. Perhaps they have another brokerage and they haven't moved all their money across. So we can then ask extra questions and filter people into different sequences based on their specific circumstances. So what this ends up meaning is that your marketing becomes extremely relevant because all of your communication starts to be sent based around when your traders are doing certain things. Your marketing starts to be sent out at the right time to the right people, and you can obviously kind of configure what type of messages you're sending. The final one, so retention seems to be quite a big issue at the moment in the industry. I think there was about four talks today on the topic of retention. So this is my contribution to the retention debate. You can use marketing automation software to detect signs of inactivity before a trader becomes inactive, giving you a kind of a window of opportunity in which you can provide that trader with incentives to actually stay with your platform. So we can create rules that say things like, if a trader has not signed in for 7 days, or that may be a month, or whatever that may be, we could perhaps send them an SMS offering them some reason to log back into their account and become active again. If after 2 days they've still not become active, we can then perhaps automatically schedule a call with one of your sales team to give them a phone call to ask if everything's okay, if there's any reason they've not logged into their account for a while. So really powerful way of detecting these signs of traders about to leave to another brokerage before they actually do. So there's lots of software that will enable you to use this kind of automation. These are some of the main ones. We had to do quite a few of these implementations last year, and it can be quite complicated knowing which tool to use because you have to make sure when choosing this software that it integrates with your CRM and lots of other different criteria. So we ended up building a tool which is completely free to use, which is marketingautomationinsider.com, where you can fill out things like, I need it to integrate with salesforce.com, we need X, Y, and Z, and then it will kind of connect you to the right tool based on your situation. So the final tactic that I want to mention that I think is a huge opportunity in this industry, but again, very underused, is this idea of growth hacking. I'm not a huge fan of the term, but growth hacking is extremely powerful, and it's this idea of building viral marketing into your product. So instead of going out and blowing a large sum of money on an ad campaign or Facebook ads or whatever it may be, actually making small tweaks in your product that will increase the virality of it and encourage your existing users to share it with their friends. It's an idea that was popularized in Silicon Valley by lots of tech startups, mainly because most of these startups didn't have the budget to reach large audiences, so they had to tweak their product to generate a large number of users. So there's companies like Snapchat, Airbnb, Hotmail are a really good example. So Hotmail back in the day, they were really struggling, and then one of their founders suggested adding a line of text to the bottom of every email. I'm sure some of you might be familiar, that said, P.S. I love you. This email was sent for free using Hotmail. So effectively, they turned every email sent on their platform into an advert for their service. Shortly after they did that, Hotmail grew exponentially, and then shortly after that, they were bought by MSN, and the rest is history. Airbnb did some really cool stuff where they integrated their product into Craigslist, an American classifieds website, so that every listing on Airbnb was auto-posted to Craigslist, driving traffic to their site. Really clever stuff, but it's not been fully exploited in this industry. There aren't that many financial companies that I'm aware of that are doing these kind of growth hacks to acquire traders, which is quite surprising considering that many companies are paying large sums of money, and this would effectively enable you to acquire traders for next to nothing using your existing users. So a couple of examples that I've seen. This is an experiment that a good friend of mine ran a couple of years ago. So we wondered what would happen if you made people work for their welcome bonus. So I'm sure many of you are familiar, when you sign up to a brokerage, many brokerages will give you a welcome bonus as an incentive to trade. We decided that it would be interesting to give new traders half of their welcome bonus up front, so $100 in this case, and then give them an extra $25 every time they shared the broker on a different social network. Now, the uptake in this, the conversion rate was very high, but what was particularly fascinating was that we presumed this would only work for real accounts, i.e. if we gave away real money. That wasn't the case. We rolled this out onto demo accounts, and it had not quite as high conversion rates, but very similar. So I don't fully understand the psychology or the behavioral economics behind that, but this kind of stuff also works for demo accounts as well as real accounts. So you can almost use your demo users to refer real accounts. This is another one that we've done recently for a client of ours called TradeSocio. So TradeSocio came to us saying, we want to raise awareness of a white label social trading platform we have. We want to get brokers involved. And instead of going out and running an ad campaign, trying to get brokers aware of this, we decided to build a tool that would encourage traders to tell their broker about their platform. So we incentivized the traders to actually go and tell their brokers publicly on Twitter that they'd like their broker to use TradeSocio. This is running at the moment. The last time I checked, we'd reached over 600 people with this. It took about 2 hours to code, so 2 hours, and it's significantly more effective than if we had just... And the other thing that's very powerful with this is that it doesn't look like an ad. We've incentivized traders to publicly tweet promoting this, so it doesn't kind of come across as a promotional ad. So I encourage everyone here to have a think about back to this slide and think, what is it that you're doing in terms of your marketing strategy, and does it fall under the category as a green triangle or a blue circle? Whether there are different tactics that you may be able to adopt that would enable you to kind of stand out a bit more and acquire users at a much better cost per acquisition. So thank you for listening, and we're doing free digital marketing consultations. If anyone's interested or wants to have a chat, feel free to come up afterwards, or we've set up a URL at ventureharbor.com/IFX. Thank you.